you are probably wasting fuel right now in ways that have nothing to do with gas prices, and the habits doing it are costing you $300 to $800 every single year. 15 specific moments at the pump and on the road where money leaves your wallet invisibly. Some cost $60 a year, one costs over $500. Every single one has a fix that takes under 2 minutes. Stay until number 1. That mistake happens after you leave the station, and it silently drains more fuel than every other habit on this list combined. Pumping at full speed. Most drivers squeeze the handle to maximum flow without thinking twice. Faster feels like more. It is not. At full pump speed, fuel moving through the nozzle at high velocity creates turbulence inside the line. That turbulence generates vapor pockets, small bubbles that displace liquid fuel inside the measured volume. You are paying for volume that is partially vapor, not liquid. Testing from the National Institute of Standards and Technology confirms that dispensing speed directly affects measurement accuracy and fuel delivery. Slower flow means more actual liquid per gallon purchased. Real consequence: at maximum pump speed, you can lose 2 to 6% of actual fuel volume per fill. For a driver filling 15 gallons twice a week at $4 per gallon, that is between $25 and $75 per year, paid for fuel that never entered the tank. Fix: use the lowest or middle pump setting. It adds 45 seconds. It gives you more actual fuel per dollar spent. The next mistake costs more, and it happens before you touch the handle. Filling up during peak heat. Gasoline is sold by volume. Volume changes with temperature. That gap is costing you money every hot afternoon. Fuel stored underground stays cooler than ambient air, but as gasoline travels through the pump mechanism and nozzle in high afternoon heat, it expands slightly before entering your tank. The U.S. Department of Energy confirms that fuel density changes measurably with temperature, directly affecting energy content per gallon pumped. You are buying slightly expanded, with lower density fuel during the hottest hours of the day. Real consequence: 1 to 3% less energy per gallon purchased during peak heat. On a $2,000 annual fuel budget, that is $20 to $60 lost purely to fill-up timing, with zero change in how far you drive. Fix: fill up before 8 in the morning or after 7 in the evening. Underground tank temperatures are most stable in the early morning. The fuel is denser, more energy complete, and worth more per gallon than the same volume pumped at 2 in the afternoon. Topping off after the first click. The pump clicked, the tank is full, and you squeeze 3 more times anyway. That extra fuel is not going where you think. Every modern fuel tank connects to a vapor recovery system with a charcoal canister designed to capture fuel vapors. When you continue pumping after the automatic shutoff, liquid fuel enters the spaces and lines meant for vapor only. Liquid fuel saturates the charcoal canister. The Environmental Protection Agency explicitly warns that topping off disrupts the evaporative emissions system and can trigger check engine codes from EVAP faults. Real consequence: a saturated charcoal canister causes fuel vapors to vent into the intake manifold instead of being captured. Fuel economy drops. Canister replacement runs $200 to $800 at most shops. A 2020 Toyota Camry owner at 41,000 miles had a recurring EVAP code traced directly to topping off. Repair bill: $340. Entirely avoidable. Fix: stop at the first click, every time, without exception. Paying for premium you do not need. Premium fuel has one job: resist engine knock in engines designed to run on it. In an engine not built for it, premium does absolutely nothing extra. Octane rating measures only one thing: a fuel's resistance to pre-ignition. If your engine's compression ratio and timing are calibrated for 87 octane, filling it with 93 adds no power, no efficiency, and no cleaning benefit. The U.S. Department of Energy states this directly. Using higher octane than required provides no benefit and does not improve fuel economy. Real consequence: premium runs 30 to 80 cents more per gallon. A driver filling 15 gallons twice a week on premium when regular is specified is paying between $400 and $800 more per year for identical performance. That money is gone with nothing to show for it. Fix: open your owner's manual and find the fuel specification. Regular recommended means regular. Premium required is an engineering specification, not a preference. Follow it exactly. Nothing more, nothing less. Letting the tank drop below a quarter. Running low on fuel is not just risky, it is mechanically expensive in ways most drivers never connect to the habit. Fuel pumps in modern vehicles are submerged inside the tank and rely on gasoline for both lubrication and cooling. When the tank drops below a quarter, the pump runs hotter and works harder to pull fuel from the bottom of the tank. Debris that settles at the tank bottom becomes more likely to circulate through the system. Real-world mechanic data shows measurably increased fuel pump wear in vehicles consistently driven below 1/4 tank. Real consequence: reduced fuel delivery consistency and accelerated pump wear. Fuel pump replacement runs $800 to $1,500 at most independent shops. A habit that costs nothing to change can defer that repair by years. Fix: refuel when the gauge hits 1/4 tank, not the warning light as the quarter mark. Your fuel pump runs cooler, lasts longer, and delivers fuel more consistently every mile you drive. The next one happens in the 60 seconds after you leave the station. Idling right after refueling. What you do in the first 30 seconds after pumping matters more than most drivers realize. Modern engines adjust fuel mixture dynamically based on sensor data. When idling after a temperature shift, like shutting off to refuel and restarting, the engine runs slightly richer than normal while sensors recalibrate. That means more fuel burned with zero movement. The US Department of Energy confirms that idling can consume up to half a gallon per hour. It sounds small. Across hundreds of fill-ups per year, it adds up to real money. Real consequence: even short idle periods after refueling add $100 to $300 per year in wasted fuel across a full year of fill-ups. The engine is burning money while parked. Fix: start the engine and drive off smoothly within 30 seconds of finishing the fill. The engine reaches operating temperature faster under light load than sitting still, which means you exit the fuel-heavy cold start phase sooner, not later. Accelerating hard immediately after leaving. The first 60 seconds after a fill-up are the most fuel-intensive seconds of any trip. Hard acceleration makes them dramatically worse. After refueling and restarting, the fuel management system briefly resets its learned values. Combined with a warming engine, hard acceleration forces the ECU to inject additional fuel before the system has stabilized. The Environmental Protection Agency confirms that aggressive acceleration reduces fuel economy by 15 to 30%. And that impact is highest during the first minutes of operation, when the engine is still compensating. Real consequence: a driver who accelerates hard, leaving every gas station, is burning disproportionate fuel at the most expensive moment of every trip. Across a full year of fill-ups, this habit alone adds $150 to $300 to annual fuel spend. Fix: exit the station under light throttle. Accelerate gradually for the first 2 to 3 minutes. The engine warms faster under light load, exits the expensive enrichment phase sooner, and burns less fuel over the full trip. Skipping tire pressure at the pump. The air pump is 6 feet from where you are standing. Most drivers have not used it in 3 months. Underinflated tires increase rolling resistance, the force your engine must overcome to move the vehicle at any speed. The US Department of Energy estimates that tires underinflated by just 8 psi reduce fuel economy by up to 3%. Most vehicles on public roads are running 4 to 8 psi low, particularly in colder months when temperature drops cause measurable pressure loss without any visible change to the tire. Real consequence: 3% reduced fuel economy across every mile driven. On a $2,000 annual fuel budget, that is $60 per year lost to tires that needed 90 seconds of attention at the pump. Fix: check all 4 tires every second or third fill-up. Use the pressure listed on the sticker inside the driver's door jamb, not the number on the tire sidewall, which shows maximum pressure, not recommended operating pressure. Checking tire pressure on hot tires. Checking tire pressure at the wrong time gives you a number that is wrong in the most expensive direction. As tires heat up from driving, the air inside expands. That expansion raises pressure readings by 3 to 5 psi above actual cold pressure. If you check after driving to the station, the gauge shows the tires as properly inflated, but once they cool, they are underinflated by that same margin. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration specifically recommends checking pressure when tires are cold, before driving more than 1 mile. Real consequence: hidden underinflation that your gauge is actively hiding from you. The fuel economy loss is the same as any underinflation, 2 to 3%, but the habit of checking makes you believe the problem has been addressed when it has not. Fix: check tire pressure before the first drive of the day or after the vehicle has sat for at least 3 hours. That is the only reading that accurately reflects true inflation level. Choosing the cheapest station without checking turnover. Not all fuel sold under the same brand name is the same quality. Station volume determines freshness, and freshness affects efficiency. Gasoline begins degrading the moment it leaves the refinery. Stations with low daily traffic replenish underground tanks slowly. Fuel sitting in storage absorbs moisture through pressure variations in the tank vent system. Moisture-contaminated fuel has reduced combustion efficiency and accelerates injector deposit formation. Industry fuel storage research consistently shows that high-volume stations deliver fresher, more stable fuel than low-traffic locations, even when selling under identical brand names. Real consequence: 2 to 4% reduced fuel economy from degraded fuel. On a $2,000 annual fuel budget, that is $40 to $80 per year in lost efficiency before accounting for any injector cleaning costs that accumulate from deposit buildup over time. Fix: choose stations on high-traffic roads near major intersections. Their underground supply turns over faster. Same posted price, meaningfully fresher fuel in every gallon. Ignoring the pump's shutoff behavior. The automatic shutoff is not just a convenience feature. It is a measurement and safety mechanism, and ignoring what it tells you costs money. The nozzle shuts off by detecting a pressure change at the tip caused by fuel reaching the fill neck. If it clicks early, repeatedly, or inconsistently, that signals vapor buildup, improper flow, or a nozzle not seating correctly. Continuing to force fuel past those signals causes overflow, vapor loss, and stress on the EVAP system. Fuel system design standards identify automatic shutoff accuracy as a critical component of delivered volume measurement. Real consequence: incomplete fills, fuel vapor loss through overflow, and repeated evap system stress that can lead to canister saturation. The same $200 to $800 repair described at number 13. Two separate habits, same expensive outcome. Fix: if the pump clicks early or behaves inconsistently, slow down or reposition the nozzle slightly. If it continues, stop and use a different pump. Do not force fuel past repeated shutoff signals. Making multiple short trips instead of combining. Short trips are one of the largest fuel expenses most drivers never think to question. Every cold start runs an open-loop enrichment cycle. The engine injects significantly more fuel than combustion requires because it cannot yet read accurate oxygen sensor data. That enrichment continues until the engine reaches full operating temperature, typically 5 to 8 minutes of driving. A trip shorter than that never exits open loop. The engine burns rich for the entire journey, every journey. Real consequence: the US Department of Energy reports fuel economy on short trips under 5 miles can run 20% lower than the vehicle's rated efficiency. A driver making 4 short trips daily instead of 2 combined trips burns $300 to $600 more per year in fuel, while also accelerating cold start engine wear. Fix: plan errands as single longer trips whenever possible. If a destination is under 1 mile and weather permits, the fuel burned in open loop enrichment makes driving genuinely more expensive per trip than walking. Carrying unnecessary weight every day. There is weight in your trunk right now that is costing you fuel on every single drive. Every additional pound of vehicle weight requires the engine to produce more torque to achieve the same speed and acceleration. That torque requires fuel. The US Department of Energy estimates every 100 pounds of unnecessary weight reduces fuel economy by approximately 1%. Most drivers carry between 100 and 300 pounds of tools, unused sports equipment, stored items, and forgotten cargo that has not left the trunk in months. Real consequence: 2 to 3% reduced fuel economy every mile, every day. On a $2,000 annual fuel budget, that is $40 to $60 per year lost to weight that serves no purpose in the vehicle. Fix: treat the trunk as a weekly workspace. Remove anything not needed for the current week. If an item has been in the trunk for more than 30 days without being used, it is costing you fuel and should not be there. Windows down at highway speed. Opening the windows feels like the free alternative to air conditioning. At highway speed, it is actually worse for fuel economy than running the AC. Open windows at speed disrupt the aerodynamic profile of the vehicle. That disruption increases drag, the resistance the engine must overcome to maintain speed. Research referenced by the Society of Automotive Engineers shows that aerodynamic drag increases significantly with open windows at highway speeds, more than offsetting the fuel saved by not running the compressor. At city speeds, windows are fine. Above 50 miles per hour, the drag penalty exceeds the AC load penalty. Real consequence: up to 10% worse fuel economy at highway speeds with windows fully open. On a driver spending significant time at highway speeds, that is $200 to $500 per year in wasted fuel from a habit that feels like it should be saving money. Fix: at city speeds, windows are the right call. Above 50 miles per hour, close the windows and use the AC on its lowest effective setting. Inconsistent speed on every drive. This single habit costs more fuel than every other item on this list combined, and most drivers do it constantly without realizing it. Fuel consumption is directly tied to throttle input. Every acceleration injects fuel to generate power. Every brake application converts that power to heat and loses it. In typical driving, this cycle repeats dozens of times per trip. Accelerate, brake. You are burning fuel specifically to cancel it out seconds later with the brake pedal. The Environmental Protection Agency reports that inconsistent and aggressive driving reduces fuel economy by up to 30% versus smooth, anticipatory driving on the same route in the same vehicle. Japanese automotive research identifies speed stability as the single largest controllable factor in fuel consumption, ahead of fuel grade, engine size, and any additive. A 2018 Honda Civic owner tracked fuel economy over 6 months using the onboard trip computer. First 3 months, normal habits, averaging 29 miles per gallon. Final 3 months, smooth acceleration, anticipating stops early, cruise control on all the highway segments. Result, 34.5 miles per gallon. Same car, same routes, same fuel. The difference was worth $380 annually. Fix: drive like there is an open cup of coffee on the dashboard. Accelerate early and smoothly. Brake early and gently. Anticipate traffic 30 meters ahead instead of reacting to it. Use cruise control on every highway segment over 5 miles. This is not a comfort preference. It is the single highest return fuel-saving decision you can make, and it costs nothing to start today. 15 habits, $300 to $800 per year. None of them require a mechanic or a product purchase to fix. Pick the 3 on this list that match your current routine and change them this week. Which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. Next video, the 5 tire pressure mistakes that are quietly cutting your fuel economy and wearing out your tires faster than normal driving ever should.